Hey folks, this is Donnie. I am I'm almost back to normal. I'm getting around a little better. Um Things are doing better for me. Blood pressure has been like crazy low compared to what it normally is. I was running around out here taking care of some of the hunting stands today, and I got home, sat down for about 10 minutes maybe, and I checked my blood pressure and it was 109 over 77. And normally before all of this craziness happened, my blood pressure, it would average 138 to 142, the upper number. The bottom number is always in the 70s, and my pulse normally when I sit down for a couple of minutes is in the high 50s to mid 60s. It stays low. Anyway, all that's getting straightened out. So thank all of you for the prayers. God bless you all. I love each and every one of you. I wanted to share something with you that happened today. Very funny. And I just want to share this with you. Then I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna share something that I don't think I've ever shared before. Talked to Brother Don, and he said he's never seen where I've shared it on YouTube, and I think it's something you'll find interesting or fascinating. But I'll get to that in a minute. My daughter and I were trying to find. If you guys remember, I did a review on a mini trail camera made by Joh, and just a really impressive little camera. It's a mini, holds four AA batteries, and you get half the life of a normal camera as far as battery usage out of it because it only holds four instead of 8 or 12 batteries. But it's a small unit. You can hide it anywhere. You can put it on a smaller diameter tree and not have to worry about it swaying the tree. And anyway, they're wonderful cameras. And well, we found them. They were under a different name, but it was the same camera. It was just a different name, and we ordered them, and they're pretty cheap. You get two cameras with batteries and two memory cards for $60 and some change. We ordered them, and I got the notification that someone was at our gate, and so I checked the camera at the gate, and it was the Amazon driver, and he put the package in our parcel box. So I stopped what I was doing and getting my things together to run from the back of the property up there to get the package because it had the two cameras in it we've been waiting on. And then I get a notification before I get on the four wheeler that the package of the two cameras was delivered. Well, when you go down to where it shows delivered, if you have an issue, you click on it, and it'll actually, when they drop it on your porch or at your gate, wherever they put your package, they take a picture of it and they upload that to Amazon. So if you say you didn't receive it, well, they got a picture of it in your mailbox showing that you received it. Well, I want to show you what I got. All right, this, and you got to remember, I ordered two cameras, two trail cameras. All right, this is the package that it came in, and I thought that's kind of odd to come in the bubble wrap packaging. So I get it out, and I felt it. I said, that don't feel like two cameras unless they are much smaller than the Joe camera was. And maybe they got them in a different packaging. Well, I get home and I pull this out of the package. That's Metamucil. I ordered trail cameras and they sent me laxative. So, anyway, I contacted Amazon customer support. I was having a mediocre day, just some things weren't going right. And the Amazon representative I talked to, her name's Cece, she brightened my day. I mean, the most phenomenal person I've spoken to in, I don't know, 30, 40 years. You don't meet people like that. Very, very rare human. And just she brightened my day. And that experience dealing with Amazon customer support today was the number one most pleasant experience I've ever had with any customer support from any company since I was old enough to use a phone to call customer support. And what a blessing it was. And Cece, if you're watching this, thank you tremendously. You absolutely made my year. But anyhow, I'm going to put this up. It's getting dark. I may have to put a light on in a minute. I'm a little nervous where I'm at. Back this direction, if you guys can see me, I have a hard time seeing that little screen. Right back this direction, 70 yards from me, maybe 65, 70 yards, is the beginning of Jeff's Corner. It's right through there. And it goes back up in here. Right back in here, directly behind the camera, is the trail camera that got disassembled, got smashed on the tree. It just got ripped apart. Half of it's still on the tree, the rest of it's on the ground. It's all busted up. And that's not far. I could probably throw a stone and hit where that camera is. It's right in there. So this area, there is activity in here, and I'm a little leery about being here this time of day, but I had no other time to do this, and it's too loud at the house with the dogs. So anyhow, I'm gonna let me see how light it is, because it is definitely getting dark. Yeah, it's getting dark. Let's see. I don't want this light to be too bright. I'm trying to see the screen. Let me see if I can. Will it stay right there? Maybe. I'm trying to find a spot to put it so it doesn't blind me at the same time, but maybe it'll help. Well, if I can get it to stay in one spot, it keeps wanting to slide everywhere. Now it's up in the trees. Uh-oh. I turned the button off. Hang on, you guys. I'm sorry. Maybe that'll help. I can turn it up a little bit. Yeah. I'm not going to be here long. I just want to share with you. I have to kind of go back, tell you the story, and then what led up to this. I used to live just outside of Panama City. It was still part of Panama City. It's called Southport. And we used to live in Southport a long time ago. This was before I met Kim. Back in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, I bought 3 acres. It was the first piece of property that I bought on my own. It was mine. I wasn't renting. And it was wooded. I used an axe and a chainsaw and pruners, and I made the driveway going into it. It had to cross another 3-acre lot because I was in the corner of this huge block of woods. I was at the very corner, so the road didn't go to the corner, but I had to go across one lot. So the driveway was right at 400 and something feet, 490, I think it was, from the road across the first lot and then to my lot, and then up to the area that I cleared, and we put a mobile house on it. There had never been a home on it in the recent history of the property, recent 50 years or so. First night in the house, they delivered it pretty quick, but it took, I think it was about 5 weeks to get the power poles put in and get electricity put on it. So we were living in the house with no power, and we would actually load the little boat up behind my truck. We put the kids in, everybody loaded up, and we'd go down to Econfina Creek, and we'd take the boat and go way upstream away from everybody, and we would literally bathe in the creek until they got our power going. I had to get a well done. I had to get septic power. It was a process. And anyhow, first night in the house, you'd feel somebody tap on your shoulder, tap on your back. You'd hear stuff. You'd see somebody moving in a room, the room at the end of the hall. The lights would be out in the hallway and in the room, but you could make out a figure moving like in front of the doorway. Oh, I'm about to sneeze. Anyway, the house ended up, the house was haunted. This was a brand new mobile house. It took a while to get it. It was about 4 weeks or 5 weeks when I put the down payment down to buy the home because they had to build it, which I think it was Enterprise, Alabama is where the facility is, and they constructed it there. Then they delivered it. So no one's ever lived inside the house. It was brand new. We get it up. We got just minor paranormal things happening in the house, and then we start seeing stuff on the property. Couple of years, probably 4 or 5 years living there, the paranormal stuff was pretty extreme. It was really ramped up, and we started acknowledging it, and it got worse. And just a heads up, if you're having any type of paranormal stuff happen, don't acknowledge it. Don't try to communicate. Don't do any of that. I didn't know at the time, and trying to figure out what it was. I didn't think there was any harm in asking, why are you here? Who are you? I didn't think there was any harm in it at the time. I know better now, but back then I just didn't know. Well, my sister and her husband, their 2 kids, they moved back to Florida. I don't remember if they came from Alabama or Texas at that time. I can't remember. And so they were staying with me until they could find a place of their own, get a little money saved, and buy them a home somewhere. My sister and her husband, were big time into paranormal research. So they showed me about how to take pictures of them using a 35 millimeter or digital camera with a flash. And we got some crazy stuff on camera. Full apparitions. I mean, you could tell a little girl with a dress on just below the knee, yellow dress with little faint blue colored flowers, but you could see through them. And had clear pictures of all this, a lot of pictures. Well, one night we were outside walking around the property, and we found out if we go outside the house and take pictures of the windows, we were catching crazy stuff. People, nobody's in the home. We're all outside, and we're getting pictures of one man looks like he came from the early 70s, late 60s hippie era. The square, dark brown glasses, big sideburns, and a little thin mustache. We had him on it, and then we had a Native American looking fella with a long black, not quite a trench coat, back down to the mid thigh, and it's not a cowboy hat, not a top hat. It looked like a top hat, but it was real short, the top part of it. It wasn't a top hat. It was a short, like a cowboy hat, but it had a round, kind of like the Amish wear. It was a hat like that. Had a lot of pictures we were getting of him and a little boy in overalls, barefooted most of the time, and then the little girl. We ended up having to contact a paranormal research team. It got bad. It got real bad. We started getting scratched. My girlfriend at the time came over, was folding laundry on the ironing board, and I didn't tell her about the haunting stuff. I didn't want to scare her. She turned to put another stack of clothes on the ironing board, and the towels, she had 5 or 6 towels folded up in a stack. And she said they lifted up about a foot above the ironing board, and then they just shot off 4 or 5 feet away. And she was looking right at them when they did that. And she left. And anyhow, the paranormal team come, and um, they went in. My room was the worst room in the house. And they went in there. They let me stay, but I had to be quiet. We shut the breaker off, killed all the power to the house. It was dead silent. I was sitting in the living room, just sitting there on one of the kitchen tables, kitchen chairs. I slid it in there because it's the only one that didn't creak. And the 3 of them were in my room with the door closed, and I could see the flash from their camera under the door when they take pictures. And I heard a ruckus in there. One of them starting to run, and then all of them run, and the door opens, and they fly out, and they're laughing, and the guy's freaking out. It was a man and two women, and the man was freaking out like, oh my gosh. The man appeared. He was on one side of the bed. The girls were on the opposite side, right beside the door, where they were looking at him and taking pictures. And there's a man standing beside him. Now he's sitting on the bed facing that wall. The man was right in front of him, but he's turned looking at them. They were talking. And he took the picture, and she said, oh my God, he's in front of you. And he turned back, and she took another picture, and the flash illuminated him. And this man standing there leaning over looking at him, and he flew across the bed, and they got out of there. Well, they asked me, and I told them, I said, they wanted no ages. And I said, the man probably 60, 65, weathered skin, wrinkled, real dark tan, dark hair, dark eyes. The little boy looks to be 4 to 6 years old, but he's real little, real puny. And the little girl was pretty as she could be. She had a blonde, like a reddish blonde hair, just about down to her waist, always tied up in the back or like two ponytails. And she always had a dress on. It was different. The little boy always had the same thing on, but sometimes he had shoes, sometimes he didn't. The girl would have dresses, different dresses on. And I said, she looked to be probably 12, I guess. And well, they left. They came back the following week, and she had a bunch of material. They went and they done a lot of research on the property. Come to find out, there was a Native American man who lived there. He was married to a white woman, and he got caught committing adultery, and they hanged him on our property. Their son, 5 years old, died of a fever, and I think it was either scarlet fever or yellow fever or some type of fever that they get from bug bites. And the little boy died at 5, the little girl died at 10. But we had the 3 of them. We never got the woman, the mother. We never got her, pictures of her, but we got them. The guy that looks like he's from the hippie era, they couldn't find any information for him at all. But they had documentation to prove that man and his children and his wife lived on that property back in the 1800s. And they wouldn't they wouldn't leave all of that with me. She told me how to look it up, and I asked her why she wouldn't leave it with me, and she said, we don't do that because a lot of people start doing stuff, and they desecrate the dead. And I agreed with them. I said, well, I understand that. I don't want a part of that. So I was okay with them taking the paperwork. I got to see it with my own eyes, and so I know they were being honest, because what they were describing they found was exactly what I was seeing. And we had anomalies in the backyard. We had 2 areas. If you walked day or night with a compass and you walked into that spot, the compass would just spin. It would spin one way and stop and start spinning the other way. It was just 2 areas. One area is about 50 yards from the house. And they went out with their gadgets, their compasses, the digital, and one of them had a digital one and a glycerin bulb compass, and it affected the digital and the glycerin one. All of them acted up. But when the compass would start spinning, the temperature would drop. It was in the low 70s, and I was standing right beside the man. I took him to the area. The 2 women were wondering, and he called them over. They brought their devices, and all 3 of their devices did the same thing. But you could feel this cold, real cold spot, and it kind of moved, but it stayed in this one like 50 by 50 area. But it just kind of drifted, and you stay there long enough, it would hit you, and you'd just get chill bumps, and then it'd pass. Wait a little bit, it'd hit you again. Every time it hit, their temperature units they had dropped. I seen it drop to 13, then it dropped to 10 degrees, and the third time it come around, it dropped to 7 degrees. From 71 or 72, it dropped down to 7. And I seen it. And 3 devices, all 3 did the same thing. Compasses spin, temperature drop. Well, they leave. My sister and her husband, they move in. And we're doing our own investigation. I'm learning. They did it all the time. I was new to it. We walked around the end of the trailer in my backyard. We had no neighbors at the time. It was all wooded. It was dark like it is out here. And I've got um, a live oak tree. There's one back behind me. I don't know if you can see it. And it was probably 35 feet tall, 25 feet wide. It was a big, full, beautiful tree. Uh, Probably about that big around. I'd say 13 inches thick at the trunk. And I'm sorry about the barking. I'm not real far from the house, but that's that little dog, that yapper. Well, we come around the house, we're taking pictures, and my sister or her husband, one of them snapped the picture, and the flash, I seen eye shine back in that oak. And I told him I just seen eyes shining. My son had a little flashlight, and he pulled it up and shined it, and we had eye shine up in that tree. And we're looking at it, and at first thought it was a raccoon because it would just kind of peek out. And I thought it was maybe two eyes close together, but it was behind the tree, and it would peek out and look, and you see one eye. Well, we start walking around trying to get up on it to see this raccoon. We get about 25 to 30 feet from the tree. We're not quite under the ends of the leaves yet. And we start taking pictures, and every time it flashed, you see the eyes shining. There was a figure about probably that tall, real wide, like a stump. Nick, my son, shined his flashlight up there at it, and I don't know what it was. It looked like a gargoyle, like the gargoyle statues. This thing had pointed ears. It was gray colored. The skin looked like the skin of an elephant, wrinkly and gray, no hair that we could see, and real wide eyes. And it was looking straight at us, but it was holding the limb it was sitting on. His feet were like hands, and it looked like three toes in the front, and I don't know how many were in the back, but it was holding the limb. It was grabbing it, and it had his I don't remember if he was holding his knees or his hands were like this. That they were somewhere up in here, and had his head turned watching us, and we eased around, and got right in front of him, and then we all got freaked out. Nick's light would go dim, and then it'd cut off. He'd have to shake it and it'd be bright again. It was one of them old Walmart lights you get that holds 2C batteries, and we didn't have LED lights back then. And we got creeped out, got a bunch of pictures, and we went back to the house. We got the big light and got the rifle, come back out, and it was gone. I did not see wings on it. Nobody seen wings on it. We did talk about that later. Everybody agreed it looked like a gargoyle, and that's actually what we called it. I don't know what it was, but that was in Southport, Florida. That's, oh geez, I don't know, 50-minute drive from us, I guess. Uh, Southwest of where I'm at, southwest of us. But anyhow, we had caught that, and that was one of the weirdest things that we seen up there. We seen a lot of apparitions, but they were all people, with the exception of that thing. And it wasn't an apparition. It was not see-through. This was solid, whatever it was. But that same property, I had captured probably 30 pictures and maybe 15 or 20 video clips of fairies. I know it sounds goofy, you guys. Little things about that tall, had wings like a dragonfly, and they were bright pink. A couple of them were blue or like real brilliant yellow or green, but they would glow. You couldn't see them with your own eyes, but when you turn the camera on, you'd see them in the LCD screen, but you couldn't see them if you looked past the camera. And we just take pictures and kept taking pictures, and we'd catch them. And the pictures we were getting, some of them, they had a tracer behind them. They're moving so fast. But we had a few pictures where they turned sideways, and you could see the four wings, you could see the two arms. They had a really strange head. The appendages were really long and skinny. They did have fingers. You couldn't tell how many, 4 or 5 it looked like. And the head was really bizarre looking. There were antennae on the head. And I don't know if they were fairies. It's just what we called them. We all kind of blurted out about the same time as fairies. And They didn't make any noise. There was no smell. Nothing bad happened um, on that property. And as far as I know, that stuff's still there. We no longer have it. I lost that property when I got hurt. I lost everything. I was $3,800 off from paying my home off, and they wouldn't work with me over that $3,800. I was 2 years ahead in payments, and they wouldn't work with me, and I lost the home. I had no income at the time. I was going through the stages of getting on a fixed income eventually, but it came too late. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you, just some more of the weird stuff. And this was back in the early 90s, mid 90s. I'm sorry. It would have been between 95 and 98, somewhere up in that time frame is when that happened. But anyway, you guys, I'm going to get out of here. It is dark, and I am getting really creeped out. I don't like being right here. I'm going to get this thing going and get my lights on, and I am leaving. I love you all. God bless you. Have an amazing evening. I'll see you guys soon. And stay tuned just a few minutes. I got a video clip I got from a trail camera about the clip was taken about a week ago, I think. I just got it off the camera yesterday. That was a limb break right there. I got the wireless mic on my head. You should have heard that one. Anyway, it's just it's a doe with a baby, a newborn baby. They're so beautiful. Oh, don't do that to me. I'm gone. Y'all have a good evening. We are gonna go. I don't know what that was. That was kind of loud. He's back there. See you soon. Bye bye.